I'm lucky to play this. This is the way I fingered it too. But by the way, let me move this down so you can see the board a little bit.
Okay. That's good vibrations.
See, I'm going up the same string because of the timbre. And of course, the last part goes. I'm getting a vibration. Jazz feel, see?
Yeah, absolutely. I can feel it.
Good vibrations. And on the bass, you got to do this kind of thing, where you don't move your thumb. You're moving all over with your fingers, but not your thumb. See, that's called a pivot. That's why you do that. So same thing I did for California Girls. See, the thumb just stays there. And the hand moves around. See, that way you can do this all night long, never get tired. You do that all the time, so yeah. It was a lot of fun to play those dates, yeah. But it just went on and on and on for hours and hours, so yeah, it was a lot of takes and all, So.
I just realized, like, when I did some research lately, that you actually started way before those SMiLE or Pat Zone sessions. You started
guitar,
the beginning of the band. No, working with Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys. You worked with him on Surfing USA already.
Yeah. Well, just the rhythm guitar. I don't know what I played. Let me get the.
So, for example, for Good Vibrations, it feels like you must have spent the whole summer not on the beach, like, in the studio, and like they call you all the time and be like, you should come again. I have this idea. Was it like that? You had to like come many times for?
No, we just kept going. He'd call a date. I didn't know that he cut the first date with Ray Pullman on bass, and it was cut over at Gold Star. But then he called me to put the Gold Star to put the bass on Good Vibrations. And the interesting thing about that is that he never changed the bass line. He changed other parts, and he had me play the bass line on a fuzz tone one time. I remember that when I heard the tape on. I said, "Oh yeah, I gotta remember that." I had a little fuzz box. I ran it through. I said, "How about this, Brian?" He said, "Well, let's try it." I did 13 dates at Western. Yeah. So it's a lot of time on one song. So you just gear yourself up. Hal Blaine had crossword puzzles. The guys would tell jokes or jam a little bit of jazz or something, what he figured out in the booth what he was going to do next.
I think on this box set there is like one part where you get the feeling that is all these jazz people like warming up or like feeling comfortable with their music.
Yeah, you can hear like come on, let's cut it, because you have to be up for the take. If you're not up for the take, you're not going to have a good take. So you have to be up for the take, and you have to be up for a lot of takes with Brian.
That's true, yeah.
But we knew that this kid was brilliant. That there was something about him that was special. So he brought the music in, and then he'd sit down at the piano and play the tune for us, so we'd get the feel of the tune, and he'd sing it so we could hear it a little bit. Because we were fast. And then he passed out the music to us, and so sometimes the music was not written right. He put sharps or flats on the wrong side of the stem or something. And if it was kind of a lot of sharps or a lot of flats or something, we'd recopy our parts.
Right, yeah. But Was he listening to you because he knew that you were like all trained musicians, and he never showed you notes or something to play? He was like mumbling or like whistling, and you had to like follow like his ideas.
What happened was that the written parts were there, so we could read the music fine. He changed the parts, maybe. He might have changed the parts, but he never changed the bass parts, which is kind of interesting. And I never knew that he was a bass player until after I quit working there for a while,
Yeah.
I got tired of recording surf rock, it's a lot of this kind of stuff.
Yeah. as a trained musician, probably like super boring.
Hour after hour, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
you get tired of that, and you'd rather play something like Nicky Bird, you know.
so did you had any influence on like bringing in own ideas, improvisations? Did they were like, oh, like ask Carol. I think she probably has maybe a better idea we can even like come up with.
No, no, because bass is the bottom of the song. It's the bottom of the band, and he had that pretty well covered with the way he wrote. There's only one lick that I got in with with California Girls. You know, it's let's see. Yeah. So, something
Yeah.
like that. Just a little lick, and he liked it, so he left it in. That's the only thing of mine that's in there, you know,
Oh
because the
yeah.
rest of the dates you had to think of bass lines right away. You know, like you'd listen to the song and you create a statement, answer, statement, answer. So forth, you know. So you create it according to the song and to the singer. There was a certain framework that you created within that framework that fit the song and the
That
singer.
yeah. Makes it, yeah. So
But you know, with Brian, he brought the music in, so we just read the music. Some of the guitar players would invent some things, you know, like Billy Strange and Glenn Campbell did that Sloop John B thing at first, you know, like that. Hal Blaine invented some stuff on drums, you know, but for the bass line, it was pretty, you know, like, Help Me, Rhonda. He wrote that.
yeah. So did you feel like there was any difference in this term from working on those pet sound sessions and then moving on to SMiLE? Did you feel that there was like a, I mean, he was
Little bit of
really young
difference,
back then, and then he in like within like half a year or like not even a year, there was so much more going on or like happening. So did you feel that it was like a change of the spirit or
it was a subtle change there. To me, he was just growing every date. With every date, he just got better and better and better. With the heroes and villains, you know that very simple.
Yeah, you kept it.
So forth. You know, I forget what I did now,
Yeah, yeah.
but I do remember that, and I thought that tune was one step up then from Old Pet Sound. Pet Sounds was a great album, and I think that's when he was starting to really grow, and we loved it. We thought it was great. You know, we listened to him. We'd go in the booth and listen to some of the stuff that he was doing and say, "Hey, Brian, that's great." So he seemed to like that, and he kind of grew. But with the SMiLE album, I think he was trying all kinds of different things, and he was doing it in pieces. But you know what? That's not so different from the way that Dave Axelrod did things in pieces too.
Yeah.
And when you do film scores, you do those in pieces too. You might do something in the middle first and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So it's not that different, but.
So, like, a question I have to you, because I know that you worked on so many great things besides that period I asked you right now about, and we were like wondering when we like talking about the questions. Did you ever felt, besides your work as a studio musician, did you ever have the feeling of like, oh, I want to start my own band, because that's maybe the possibility to like to be more present or more in the spotlight for a wider range of audience?
You know what happened was that all of us that were doing studio work were experienced way before we ever did studio work. I was on the road with a big band about 1955, you know, 54 and 55 playing guitar, and I was playing jazz. I mean, since 1949 on guitar. So been there, done that.
Yeah.
George Shearing asked me to be in his group. I mean, I was still playing a little bit of jazz guitar back in '62 and '63. I hadn't played bass yet, see, because it was when the bass player didn't show up at Capitol. That's when they put me on bass, and I thought, well, if I play bass, then I don't have to carry in about 4 or 5 different guitars, electric 12-string and all that kind of stuff. If I just play bass, it's one instrument you carry in, and then I can do this. Or that kind of stuff. It was more fun to play bass.
So one last question for this interview, like, is there any fun story or like secret you can tell us that was like you still think of these days and the sessions, and you're like, that was pretty bizarre or like funny?
Oh, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that happen, because you do things like this on a film score or something. Let me show you.
Yeah.
Let me show you. See, I did a lot of film scores, like for Quincy Jones. A lot of movies for him. Whoops. Can't kind of do this.
Yeah, I read the quote that he's. I read the quote that he said, like you're like his favorite bass player ever.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, he's a nice man.
It's amazing quote.
But I asked him, I said, why do you hire me? He says, because you get the sound and you can invent stuff when I don't have to write it. But I get on a date one time and I did something in the key of G flat, I believe it was, and went to the D flat. And it's kind of a boring tune, and I forgot the bars, and I moved up to G flat. I said, whoops, and I moved back down, something like that, and I thought, well, he's going to hear that mistake, So we got to the end of the tape, and the guy said, that thing that you did? I said, uh-oh, here it comes. He said, do that again. That was good. So I said, okay, new thing. So that's the birth of the slide. So you accidentally do something and then they like it. So you're lucky. Phil Spector loved to kind of tease somebody. He'd pick out somebody for the day, and he used to go to the shrink every day. So he'd practice his shrink talk, the psychiatry talk, and he kind of like targets somebody's weakness, and so they either get mad or they talk back to him, Well, one day I just didn't feel like being his target for that day, and he started picking on me. I said, "Well, F off, Phil," like that. Isn't that cute? She says F, or the fuck word, So anyway, isn't that cute? He was real nice to me after that, So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you have to.
You have to smack them, yeah.
Show people where there's a limit.
You need me.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. So, but you can't be in love with yourself though, because you're only as good as your last date, and so you can't have a big head because there's going to be someday that they won't want you, So you're gonna have to be cool, So yeah.
Absolutely.